Morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy July 1st. Welcome to medical Qigong practice. My name is Mary Francis. That was Kaylee, and I am a student of Henry Wali's. So let's go ahead and get started. We're working on the Golden 8 this morning. So opening up, let's do some warm-ups. Settling into space and tapping. We're using our right hand and a loose fist to open up the left side of the body. Breathing in and out through the nose. The tip of the tongue is touching the roof of the mouth. Coming up to midline. As we're tapping, we're opening up the channels, increasing blood and chi flow. Dredging the channels, letting go of anything you don't need or want, before then switching over to the other side. Opening up the channels in the lower half of the body. Our feet are still parallel, tapping the inner thigh and then up at the hip. Transitioning. Bringing that left foot a little closer to the right. Waking up the kidneys, and that kidney energy. Placing the palms at the low back, circling down the sides and up the spine. Resting the palms at the low back, closing the eyes. Inhaling, guiding the breath and the chi to the low back, allowing it to fill up with energy. Exhaling, allowing this energy to flow to wherever it's needed within the body. Inhaling, guiding the breath and the chi to the low back, filling up the kidneys. And then exhaling, allowing the chi to flow freely within the body. Inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. Allowing the mind to relax into the breath. Allowing the breath to relax the body. And allowing the chi to flow freely to wherever it's needed. When you're ready, gently opening the eyes, letting the arms come back down to the sides, and closing. Opening now for our Golden 8 series. Reach for happiness, the lung and large intestine exercise. Inhaling. Exhaling. In and out. Inhaling and exhaling. In and out. Continuing on at your own pace, using the rate of your own breath. Slowing down or speeding up the movements, depending on what works best for you. Getting ready to close. Closing. The Archer exercise for the heart and small intestine. Inhaling and exhaling. In and out. Getting ready to close. Closing. Our spleen stomach exercise between heaven and earth. Inhaling. Exhaling. In and out. Inhaling. And exhaling. Getting ready to close. Closing. Our pericardium Sanjiao exercise. Turn and look back. Inhaling and exhaling. In. And out. Inhaling. And exhaling. Getting ready to close. Closing. Our liver gallbladder exercise, twist and release. Inhaling. And exhaling. Getting ready to close. Closing. Kidney and urinary bladder bend for help. Inhaling. Exhaling. In. And out. Inhaling. And exhaling. In. Out. Inhaling back to the start. Transitioning using your own breath work. Getting ready to close. Closing. Our rim channel exercise, the energy punch. Inhaling. Exhaling. In. And out. Getting ready to close. Closing. And our do channel exercise, the energy jump in 2 parts. We're going to do about 5 of each. Inhaling and exhaling. Transitioning to part 2, inhaling and exhaling. Closing. Keeping those feet together so we can retain all that wonderful energy that you've been cultivating. Bringing the palms together, rubbing them so that we can transfer some of that energy to the palms. Our magic number today for the facial rejuvenation exercise is 9. So washing the face. Wiping the brow. And then wiping up and down the entirety of the nose. Circling in and out 9 times each. Dredging the channels of the scalp. Beating the drum. Grasping the ears. And then popping the cork. Uniting the Ren and the Do, 9 circles in, 9 circles out. Massaging the jaw. Magic number is now changing to 6 times each side, or 12 times total. Bringing the palms to the lower dantian, circling up the right and down the left, gathering all of that wonderful energy that we've been cultivating to the lower dantian 9 times. And then switching directions. Resting the palms at the lower dantian, closing the eyes. Inhaling and exhaling at your own pace. Guiding the breath and the chi to the lower dantian, allowing it to fill up with energy. And as you exhale, allowing that energy settle and store so that you may use it throughout the rest of your day. Inhaling and exhaling. Guiding the breath and the chi to the lower dantian, filling it up with all that wonderful energy. Exhaling, allowing it to store. Allowing the mind to relax into the breath. Allowing the breath to relax the body. And allowing the chi to settle and store. Thank you everyone so very, very much for practicing with us on this Wednesday morning, and for someone who might have moved, welcome to your new place.
Wait, who moved? Hi.
Does the person want to let Henry know who moved? Was the move successful? They're staying quiet now, but maybe they'll.
Can you hear me?
Go.
My camera won't connect for some reason.
Okay. Was it successful?
Yes, everything's good. Thank you. It was hot as heck, but yes.
Yay!
Oh, okay, congratulations on your move.
Oh, boy, thanks.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And so yesterday we talked about face masks and why face masks are important to help both keep you safe and try to help keep everyone safe so we can get out of this coronavirus situation. Um, so, my mom's been in Hong Kong and she's been raving about why we aren't wearing masks since March, because they've been wearing masks out there, and that's what's been helping keep things under control. So I do want to emphasize the air droplet situation, and today, in the interest of trying to help everyone keep safe and healthy, I do want to talk a little bit about, you might be wondering, well, what is safe to do? What can I do, because I don't want to stay home all the time? And what are activities that are low risk versus high risk? So I'm going to give you the kind of what the official spiel is and my take on it. So let me just pull up what some of the official or semi-official research on activities that are kosher or not kosher. Okay, so obviously lowest risk if you stay home and you don't interact with anybody, okay, that we all understand. Because the virus we now know for sure is transmitted mostly by air, and that's how most of us are getting infected. That's contrary to in the very beginning when they were not sure about face masks and stuff, because we really didn't know that the air transmission was so important. So now that we know that air transmission is one of the main ways that it is transmitted, it's really important to look at where you go. So if you're going indoors, that's going to be a big risk. So anything that's related to indoors, especially indoors without ventilation, without any air purifiers, and I do want to talk about air purifiers because that's a big aid in helping some of these places open up. But if you're outdoors, that tends to be much lower risk for folks. It's like if you're just going out for a walk, a hike, even if you go to a protest, but you want to stay 6 feet away and you want to wear a mask. But if you're outdoors and you notice you're by yourself, you still want to keep your mask handy. You probably don't have to wear it. You're outdoors, the air is more diffuse, there's air circulation, so the chances of getting infected in those scenarios is very low. And if you do want to eat out, I do recommend takeout is the #1 option. And then a far #2, which I still don't recommend, is eating outside. Maybe there's a patio, maybe there's some place that you can be outside in the open air. And of course, you're distant from the other table, but that does not, protect you from, potentially wait staff that you interact with, someone in the kitchen sneezing on your food. So those things we don't know. And I was at a pizza restaurant a few weeks ago to do a pickup, and I noticed the bartender guy who was making drinks for people indoors. Human habits are hard to change. So he instinctively lifted his mask and sneezed, away from me though, luckily. But it just means that those particles, and if he was infected, then those infectious particles are in the air lingering in that restaurant. And I didn't notice that restaurant having much of air circulation. So if you're indoors in that situation, then you get put at risk. So that's definitely something to consider. So outdoor restaurants, that's a distant second option. And higher risk is, you don't want to be eating indoors if you, I would not recommend that at all right now. So, and then obviously the highest risk is like if you're singing, if you're doing karaoke, that's why bars are very high risk. And gyms are very high risk because people are doing heavy breathing, you're in an enclosed environment, you're probably sharing and breathing in each other's air, you're probably not wearing masks. So even if you are wearing masks, it's very difficult And I really don't recommend any of those indoor activities right now, including movie theaters, gyms, indoor restaurants. So I would avoid those like the plague, really. Okay, so why air purifiers? So air purifiers, and there's certain types that you want to know. And so at my office, we've implemented certain safety protocols to help keep our place clean. And part of that is regarding air disinfection, and that's with HEPA filters. So HEPA is a standard HEPA of air filters. So you don't want to get any standard air filter, or if you go to a doctor's office, you go place to it inside and you notice an air filter, you want to make sure that they are using HEPA filters, because HEPA filters are a standard. They filter out 99.9% of particles that are 0.3 microns. So 0.3 microns is actually where these filters are at its weakest. So at its weakest, it is 99.97% effective. So particles that are bigger and particles that are smaller, actually, these filters are even more effective at. So that's why I use these filters in these purifiers in every single treatment room, and including the waiting area. And so if you're going to any place indoors, doctor's office, you want to notice if they're actually cleaning the air. AC systems are not good enough because they recycle part of the air. So when you have a HVAC system and there's central air or whatever, part of that air is actually recycled. It's not all pulled in from the outside. So that could be 40% of the air to 60% of the air is actually just the same air being moved around. And so if there is viral particles in that air, it just gets recycled, okay? Now some HVAC systems have like a HEPA filter, but unless you know for sure, you wanna make sure that they're using these HEPA air purifiers along with it. So I use both because I do have an AC central air system running, and that's also moving the air, cleaning the air, bringing in fresh air in. If places have windows, open them up. That's another option. But the air purifiers helps clean the air inside each of these rooms, especially if these rooms normally don't move air. And for me as an acupuncturist, you know, people spend a significant amount of time in an enclosed room. So if you're seeing an acupuncturist, you want to make sure that they are taking these efforts to keep their air in their rooms clean. A lot of the rooms that I see with acupuncturists, you know, normally there's not a lot of air circulation. So someone stays in that room, they're resting, they're getting treatment, and those air droplets, as they breathe, continue to build up. So that needs to be constantly cleared. If they don't have an air purifier, that's a big red flag for me. Unfortunately, it's not like they talk about like wearing masks and hand sanitizer and stuff, but this is not, they haven't implemented this as a requirement yet. So both at the county level and as in terms of as a profession. So this is something that right now it's above and beyond, but the research is showing that this is very much necessary. And so for me, cleaning the air, these air purifiers are an absolute necessity. So why is that the case? So I do want to share another photo. Okay. So, let me bring up a few photos actually. 1, 2. Okay, so this shows a chart of how the HEPA filters work. And if you can see, this is its lowest efficiency, all right? And it's somewhere around 0.3 microns, okay? So that's where it's weakest, all right? Why is that the case? Because in a HEPA filter, it's a lot of fibers in the HEPA filter. And so when the air runs through it, obviously the bigger particles, all right, aren't able to go through any of the gaps in the fibers. So they're gonna all get caught pretty readily. And you can see anything as it gets bigger to the right in this chart, it's almost 100%, okay? So like you have a large chunk of, dust, those things will hit the filter and just stay on top of it. And that's it, they're done. But anything smaller, they can go through some of the gaps. So there's 3 methods of filtration, and there's impaction and interception, that's the larger particles. So that literally means like the fibers physically block all the hard fibers. So, and then the smaller stuff is the fusion. Okay, what that means is that these particles are so small and so light, they don't flow in a straight line. They move in a zigzaggy way. So as they're passing through the filter, that zigzag movement will get them caught in the fibers. And that's why it's effective on that smaller end, anything that's smaller than 0.1 microns. And then in the middle, that 0.1 to less than 1 micron area where the filter is weakest, it's using both kind of that overlap. So there is some of that erratic movement of the particles, as well as just hitting the fibers. So those are what is making these filters effective for viral particles as well. All right, so that gives you hopefully some ideas on why it's so important. And I think, as we learn more, a lot of these restaurants and bars are going to implement more of these HEPA filters to help keep the air clean, and hopefully we can open more safely. But right now there's no specific guidance on air contamination in this way. Really, it's been focuses mostly on masks. That's part of the equation. The unfortunate thing is not everyone's wearing a mask, therefore, you can't assume that it's safe. And I do recommend the mask that I mentioned yesterday. If you can get one of those, happymask.co. I use them because I actually ordered some and they work really well. They're the best that I've tested a lot of different masks, and they're the ones that fit the best, and the quality is really good. So if you're able to get your hands on those, that's the way to go in terms of, kind of doing stuff outside in your life and maintaining a level of safety. Okay, so hopefully that's informative for you, because I really want to make sure everyone stays safe and everyone stays healthy while trying to find that happy medium of being able to do some activities like going outside. Maybe, you can do some social distance, hanging out with people, but it is July 4th weekend. A lot of people have these extended family gatherings, barbecues, or friends coming over. So you really want to be careful. And it's really hard to maintain that discipline, because once you get your friends over, you may have a plan. Make sure you have a very strict plan. Okay, I'm not saying don't hang out with people, but you want to have a very strict plan about face masks, about social distancing, and hang out outside. If you're hanging out inside, it's just like in an indoor bar or restaurant. Those particles just go everywhere, and you're breathing in each other's particles. So I would limit any gatherings to outside gatherings, and with face masks where possible, okay, and or 6 feet apart. So if you can't do the face mask thing, like if you guys are eating outside, don't eat inside. If you're eating outside and you're chatting, do it at least 6 feet away, and wear a mask if you're not chatting, okay? But I don't recommend gatherings in general, but have a plan, because it's a slippery slope. Because once you guys get together, this is kind of a human nature thing. Once you get together, you start to feel comfortable, you start to relax, and then, maybe you decide, oh, okay, maybe I don't have to wear this mask anyway. And then it's a slippery slope. It goes downhill from there. So you really want to have a plan that you guys agree upon to make sure that you guys are safe if you do have any kind of social distance gathering. Because my wife works at Kaiser, and she gets, she has remote calls from patients, and so I'm overhearing some of these conversations, and people are like having their hairdressers come over or friends come over, and it starts off like they're kind of strict, and then slowly it's like, okay, well, she took off her mask, so I thought it was okay to take off my mask. And I was like, well, probably shouldn't have invited them over in the first place, but then you don't have masks and you're within a few inches of each other. You know, she's doing your nails or your hair. It's just like, okay. And then you find out a few weeks later that they were infected. So you don't want to get into those scenarios. All right. Okay. So I just want to make sure everyone stays safe. Thank you for joining us. We will see you tomorrow. We are approaching our 100th class. Today is day 98. Okay, so it's definitely a big milestone for all of us. Thank you for being with us along this journey. So I think day 100 is Friday. And yeah, so thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.